I think he's one injury in particular away from disaster, Barry, and that's if Kyogo gets injured. I don't think he's got proper cover. I think the jury's still out in Giakoumakis. The jury's made the decision on Ayeti. Good news for Postecoglou that Japan are not going to use their overseas players in January, so Kyogo will not be travelling. That's great news for Celtic, but they've got to keep this guy fit. They've got to keep him fit. And they have to get cover in the window. If the Celtic board don't dig into their pockets and get a proper striker in there, they're not doing their job.
How could it be in this position, Davy? How could it be in the 1st of December and they've got one recognised striker?
Well, it was a shambles in the summer. This is a legacy of the shambles that we saw in the summer, where Postecoglou came in really late, didn't have time to recruit properly. This is the first chance he's had. And it's all very well the Celtic board sitting at the AGM saying we're going to do all we can to help the manager. Time to get the finger out and prove it now, and get a proper centre forward in there right now.
Well, listen, you leave him out, Celtic ain't the same team, no doubt about it, but then you're hoping that you're in control of a game, you're 2 or 3-0 up, 70 minutes to go, and then you can bring him off. But listen, we've said it plenty of times on this show, Kyogo needs to start for Celtic, and certainly through the middle.
People, somebody's on the socials saying, why didn't they go for Kevin Nisbet, for example? What's this thing about not, Rangers or Celtic could have gone for Lyndon Dykes 18 months ago. They didn't. What was it, £1 million to QPR, £1.5 million? Why not someone like Kevin Nisbet rather than going for a Giakoumakis or Ayeti? We know was $5 million.
I said last summer on this programme, Paul, I would go and get Nisbet. Now I know his form's shaded. He looks back to his best now. He looks a proper player again. And what would you have had to pay? Maximum maybe $3 million to Hibs. I mean that's a no-brainer. At his age, you're going to get your money back.
And he's back, isn't he, Barry's confidence?
I thought the semi-final, I know everybody was speaking about Boyle, and rightly so, because he scored the hat-trick, but Nisbet looked back to his best, no doubt about it. He scored a goal at the weekend against St Johnstone, and there's no doubt Kevin Nisbet has got a lot of ability. I just like his story with Kevin Nisbet, how he's come through the lower leagues, getting let go by Partick Thistle and go down to League One and coming through the leagues again, and had a fantastic season last year, scoring I think 18 goals. Listen, it dipped, but I think that was through some personal problems as well, Paul, no doubt about it. But look, he looks back on fire again.
He's back. I see some of the headlines today. 10 million for CCV, Cameron Carter Vickers. Everyone's got that kind of Ange's AP and GVB. What do you think? 10 million, or is this the hand of Daniel Levy just bumping up the price of the guy that's on loan?
It probably is the hand of Daniel Levy, but that seems to be the going rate down in England, and the English clubs will know of him. It's an insult to our game, some of the money that they offer for Scottish players, because they're not sure whether they can hack it down there. Virgil van Dijk has certainly proved them all wrong, didn't he? Wanyama proved them wrong, and one or two others have done it. And I don't know I said at the weekend, I don't see Celtic paying 6.5 for Jota. And
you don't think they'll pay that?
I think they'll be under major pressure from the supporters, Barry, but I think you need a cattle prod to get the Celtic board to write the cheque out.
And yet, can you imagine what they can sell him on for?
I would look on Jota as an investment, because obviously, listen, he's come in and he plays in the same position as David played wide, and I look at a lot of wide players and it's consistency with wide players at times. 2 good games, 1 bad game, but I think Jota's consistency levels have been right up there. He's added goals to his game. I think if you go and pay £6.5 million, I think if he continues that sort of form, you're looking at doubling that at least.
And the money's there. We know the money's there, Paul. The figures add up at Celtic. Not sure they add up at Rangers, despite Stuart Robertson's assurances that everything's fine at the moment. Financially at Ibrox, Celtic certainly have the money to splash out in this window. And as Barry says all the time, there's 40 million quid up on the line here. It's time to speculate, to accumulate, have a go, because I don't think Rangers are any great shakes. I think Rangers are in decline at the moment. They might prove me wrong, they might strengthen in January, but at the moment Rangers are on the slide, and I think Celtic, if they spend properly in the window, they could be right back in this title race.
Tell Alexa to launch Go Radio or listen on the Go Radio app.